The Quaker Valley School District Student Services Department is excited to share our program highlights with the Quaker Valley School District Board. During this presentation, you will learn about programming and offerings from our school counseling department, our school psychologist, and our behavior specialist. The Student Services Department is led by our Director of Student Services, Mr. Mike Lewis. The Quaker Valley School District school counselors support the personal social well-being, academic success, and career development of all students. School counselors deliver services to students through school-wide programming, classroom lessons, group counseling, individual counseling, and individual student planning. School counselors collaborate with parents, teachers, and administrators to support student success. This section of our presentation highlights the school counseling programs and services delivered at the elementary, middle, and high school level in the Quaker Valley School District.
Good evening. My name is Leah Lindenfelser, and I'm the school counselor at Osborne Elementary. And I'm just going to spend a few minutes discussing with you some of the things that Mrs. Jessica Jackson, the school counselor at Edgeworth, and I are doing to support our students here at Quaker Valley. So, here, both at Osborne and at Edgeworth, over the last 11 years, we have implemented something called school-wide positive behavior intervention and supports. So, school-wide positive behavior support is something that we have been doing, as I mentioned, for the last 11 years, where we are really focused on making sure that we are clearly defining our expectations that we have for students, and not even just expectations in the classroom, but beyond that in places such as the cafeteria, the hallways, and the bathrooms during arrival and dismissal, as well as when we gather for assemblies. So that's something that we have really focused on, especially over these last 2 years as a result of the pandemic, ensuring that we do not assume that students know what is expected of them, but we are teaching what is expected, and then recognizing and reinforcing that positive behavior when we do see it. So that is our school-wide positive behavior support in both buildings. Mrs. Jackson and I also run individual and small group counseling sessions. You'll see listed there a range of the groups and lessons on which we focus. Everything from new students for our first through fifth graders, making sure that the transition from their previous district is as smooth as possible, as well as things such as learning to regulate our emotions in healthy and productive ways. As well as support groups for students who find themselves with families in separate homes. So, not just divorce, where parents that are separated, but even so, maybe parents are deployed or grandparents are raising the children where parents are not in that household. We also run daily lunch bunches where we are teaching things such as social skills, um, impulse control, and a variety of other topics. Also, in Quaker Valley, over the last few years, we have implemented a social emotional learning curriculum. At Quaker Valley, we are using something called Move This World. And the Move This World lessons happen in every classroom, kindergarten through fifth grade, at least 3 times a week, where students are shown videos on lessons that involve identifying emotions, being able to communicate with others, whether through positive emotions or negative emotions that they might be having, as well as building empathy and respect and responsibility, and really trying to understand and build a classroom community within each individual classroom as well as within our school. And something that has been greatly beneficial to this is the common language that Move This World has developed amongst all staff and students when we are supporting those children who need a little bit more from us when it comes to understanding, recognizing, and communicating their feelings in healthy ways. Um, Through the Power of Pause videos that you see listed there, we are also providing students the opportunity to pause and regroup, whether it's after something like recess or lunch, where they might need a little bit of time to get their minds and bodies ready for academic learning again, as well as the Power of Pause enable us to stop and address anything that might be going on in the classroom that we need to manage together or brainstorm together to find a resolution. So the Power of Pause videos are also greatly beneficial. We also have offered, especially during the pandemic, I've offered a virtual counseling office for students to access, and in that virtual counseling office, I offer a review of lessons that I have done throughout the course of the year that students can rewatch, whether it's a read aloud story, whether it's just some exercises to get their feelings or their energy out, and just really focusing on that ownership and that independence and being able to access those things if they need them, even when they're not in school. Mrs. Jackson also offers something called the Wholehearted Teacher Leadership Community, which is she calls WTLC for short, where she's focused on trauma informed care as well as self care for teachers. And then you'll just see here across both buildings some school-wide initiatives that we do offer. Blessings in a Backpack is where Mrs. Jackson and I provide food in the backpacks of students who need it over the weekend. So we put those in on Friday to help the children over the course of the weekend when they are not here with us. Over the last 10 years, both elementary schools have implemented what's called Room Full of Heart. It's a fundraising effort where we support families during the holiday season, whether it's through gifts, clothing, or gift cards to provide that additional support for families who may need it during that time of year. Every year, we also do Kindness Week. This year here at Osborne, we're doing Kindness Month, where we are really focusing on what does it mean to be kind? Why do we do it? And certainly it's not for us to get something in return, but it's always nice if that does happen, as well as we focus on how when we do something for someone else, we are not just helping that person, but we are also changing ourselves because we also get that good feeling from doing something good for someone else and being selfless. And we're also building that the capacity to be empathetic for one another and ultimately building that community within our classrooms and within our school, where we're focusing on what it means to be a good, kind citizen of our school, of our community, and of our world. Then you will also see the final one is called Children's Grief Awareness Week, which we do in the month of November, where we recognize and provide support for those students that have lost someone that they love. And here at the elementary school, we also include pets because pets are members of our family. And we talk about what grief is, as well as how to support those who are going through that grieving process. So it's just a really nice time to once again build that community within our school where we are there for each other and building empathy for one another. And then finally, our two schools have spaces where students can go to either regroup or wind down from whatever it is that they might be feeling in that moment. At Edgeworth, they have something called the Zen Den. And here at Osborne, in 2 weeks, we will have a newly installed sensory room where students who need that multisensory input to either manage their bodies or manage their thoughts or feelings can go, as well as we are going to start incorporating that common language that I have mentioned previously from Move This World into the sensory room. So students can start to gain independence and autonomy on choosing and understanding um, what what they need in that moment depending on how they're feeling or the situation that warrants. So, we are very excited about all of these things that we have been doing to support the social and emotional well-being of our students here in Quaker Valley.
Hello, this is Jessica Jackson, the school counselor at Edgeworth Elementary, and I am going to spend some time talking to you a little bit about the academic and career domains that we as school counselors focus on as well. In the elementary school, to monitor the academic success of our students, we benchmark our students 3 times per year, and we regularly review this data as a way to assess the needs and plan for any support or tiered interventions that our students may need. We use the STAR assessments in both math and reading in grades 1 through 5. We use the Dibbles 8th edition for reading in kindergarten through 2nd grade. And we use the Everyday Math 4 math interviews in kindergarten. We then team to look at the students that are receiving supplemental and urgent intervention in math and reading. These criteria have been established by a team of interventionists, school counselors, and principals and other support staff people. The interventions that students are receiving may need to elevate a student to tier 2 of the MTSS process. This is determined in a couple of different ways. Either if a child is receiving urgent intervention in math or reading, or if they are receiving supplemental intervention in both math and reading, we consider them for a movement referral to the tier 2 of the MTSS process. Once a student enters tier 2 of MTSS, we may include an academic or behavioral screening for that student. We set some individual goals, monitor those individual goals, and adjust as needed. In the career domain, we have curriculum kindergarten through fifth grade and do classroom lessons at each grade level, focusing on the world of work. We also have established career portfolios that cover the state standards that are set by the state of Pennsylvania. And we keep those career portfolios starting in kindergarten all the way up through fifth grade. When they move to the middle school, those career portfolios follow them all the way up through middle and high school. We have also established fourth and fifth grade junior achievement days where we have parents come in and run lessons for our fourth and fifth graders dealing with the world of work and the state standards that Pennsylvania has set for career development.
Hi, I'm Dr. Matthew Parrish, middle school counselor for students with the last names that begin with the letter M through the letter Z.
And I'm Dr. Danielle Schultz, school counselor for students with last names A through L at Quaker Valley Middle School.
This year in particular, at the middle school level, we have really focused on supporting students' personal and social well-being. At the beginning of the school year, in order to check in with all of our students and see what their needs were and how we could best support them, well, we administered a student check-in survey to the entire middle school building. Had a very good response rate of 92% of the students that responded and completed the survey. And 91% of our student body reported that they were having an average to excellent start to their school year, with less than 3% of students reporting a poor start to the school year. This data allowed us to design student programming and come up with some ways that we can keep students connected while also supporting them at the same time. Based on the results of our survey data and some of the themes that we were able to pull from that data, we created some student programming this year to support the needs of the students at the middle school level. We started a Rise and Shine organizational skills group on Monday mornings that would allow students early access into the building to meet with their counselors, and we can start some healthy habits with them, look at their calendars for the week, review their classroom expectations and assignments that are upcoming, in addition to helping them kind of better manage their time by taking a more of an active role in planning of their schedules for the week. We started a weekly Lego club that would take place during lunches, where students were still able to socialize in our makerspace, especially earlier in the year when some of those restrictive distancing measures were still in place within the cafeteria and auditorium where they would typically eat lunch. So this provided them a smaller area and that they could still have some activity while being socially distanced. We also offered a book club that would take place during lunches as well, that provided students some socialization and interaction based on the novel Matilda, which also was a connection to our middle school musical this year. Our student survey data also allowed us to provide some more targeted interventions for students that were in need. Um, Anything that a student might have identified as a difficulty for them at the middle school level or that they're dealing with in life, anything from making and maintaining friendships to readjusting to in-person school 5 days a week. Um, Dr. Schultz and I were able to meet with those students, provide them with whatever service they were in need of, and also potentially refer them for outpatient services if the need arose to that situation. At the middle school level, we implement a school-wide positive behavior and support program that explicitly teaches positive interactions and behaviors within the school that are based around our three universal expectations for all students, that students will respect themselves, students will respect others, and will respect their school. We teach monthly lessons and offer programming based on the monthly themes. So we have a different focus for each theme for each month of the school year. And here are the examples of those themes that we had for this school year.
This school year, in addition to hosting a welcome session for new students to the middle school, we also hosted a welcome back session for students who were previously remote learners. We also presented to the QVMS Home and School Association about reset, relate, and reframe, and helping families return to normalcy. We provided reset tips such as establish a routine, practice self care, schedule family time, relate tips, reestablish or build connections, whether that be with family, school, or community. We also encouraged members to define their family's comfort zone, identify needs and resources, and that could be connected with school or in the community. We also included some reframe tips, define roles and expectations, determine internal versus external locus of control, and recognize improvements and efforts that students have made. Quaker Valley Middle School hosts a number of school-wide initiatives throughout the year. In September, we host Start with Hello Week, which encourages students to see someone alone, reach out and help, and start with hello. We host different events that encourage students to connect with each other and learn about each other. This is especially important at the beginning of the school year. Another one of the initiatives that we host is Mr. Rogers Cardigan Day. During Mr. Rogers Cardigan Day, we encourage students and staff to wear cardigans in honor of Fred Rogers. This date was picked because it coincides with World Kindness Day. Our PBIS monthly theme for February is kindness, which coincides with Random Acts of Kindness Week. Throughout the month, we host events, and then students focus on different activities each day of Random Acts of Kindness Week. Children's Grief Awareness Day occurs each year on the Thursday before Thanksgiving. The holiday season can be an especially difficult time for someone who has lost a loved one. We host lunch and learns to educate students about grief and have in-depth conversations about how to help a friend or loved one who may have lost someone. Each year, Quaker Valley Middle School hosts a food drive that benefits the Sewickley Community Center and the Center for Hope in Ambridge. To support the academic success of students at Quaker Valley Middle School, school counselors are also involved in the MTSS multi-tiered system of support. We collaborate with academic specialists, teachers, administrators, and our school psychologists to identify and provide services to students. This could be academic or behavioral in nature. We also host, as Dr. Parrish mentioned, a Rise and Shine drop-in group on Mondays. The Rise and Shine group helps students with executive functioning skills and is hosted on Monday mornings at 7:35 a.m. Last school year, we hosted this virtually on Wednesdays as a chance for students to get caught up during the week. Quaker Valley Middle School counselors also share tips and information with students throughout the year via email and by creating images to display on our closed circuit TVs. We share tips with students to help them be successful at the end of each quarter and trimester, and we share tips to prepare for the PSSAs. At Quaker Valley Middle School, we also have a career curriculum. In 6th through 8th grade, students create a digital career portfolio through a program called Naviance. This program allows them to start in 6th grade and carry through 12th grade with their career portfolio and have access to all of their information that they store in Naviance. All 8th grade students receive a presentation by Parkway West Career and Technology Center. Interested 8th grade students attend a Parkway West Career Exploration Day where they get to experience 2 different programs from Parkway and do hands-on activities related to those programs. At the middle school level, we create purposeful programming that help middle school students' personal social well-being, academic success, and career development.
Hi, everyone. Thank you for taking the time this evening to join this presentation. My name is Jim Walls, and I'm one of the Quaker Valley High School counselors, currently working with 10th and 12th grade students. In our department, I am joined by Mrs. Julie Haig, who is our current 9th and 11th grade counselor. And then Mrs. Haig will be pinch hitting tonight for Mrs. Amy Keller, our career education coordinator, who is currently on sabbatical. At the high school level, we prioritize helping students explore who they are, where their interests and passions are, and then work together as a department to support them personally, socially, and academically. As the needs of our students continue to expand and evolve in preparation for life after high school, we often work with students on an individualized basis through individual counseling sessions and check ins. We also push into classrooms for social and emotional learning lessons, meet with students one on one or in small groups, and also utilize the foundational practices from the American School Counseling Association to support students by helping them reach their goals. We meet with students every other week as part of the Student Assistance Program at the high school level. Our acronym for this is called QUEST, Quaker Education Support Team. This program allows us to meet and collaborate with important stakeholders, including administrators, teachers, school psychologists, our school resource officer, and our school nurse. As a result, we are able to more thoroughly understand and explore the unique needs of our students and connect students and families with the appropriate supportive services both in and outside of the school setting. Academic support at the high school level is an incredibly collaborative process. The high school counseling department works closely with our academic specialists, our intervention specialists, and other faculty to assure we are meeting the needs of our diverse student population. Data from the PSAT and STAR scores, combined with classroom data and other qualitative and quantitative data, are all pieces of information we consider when determining intervention and customizing strategies to support a student's success. High school counselors communicate and connect with all students in grades 9 through 12 in our offices, in classrooms, and outside of school to maximize the learning experience.
Curriculum for career development at the high school level focuses on providing students with the opportunities to expand their self-awareness and build work-related skills and mindsets. Throughout their 4 years of high school, students will engage with learning about their interests, strengths, and skills, as well as the world of work. To ensure our curriculum aligns with the needs of the ever-changing workforce, we continue to expand our community career partnerships. Detailed on the current and following slide are many of the opportunities students are able to explore and experience. Overall, our goal is that students will graduate with the ability to identify and pursue life opportunities that fit with their values, interests, strengths, and skills.
The Quaker Valley School Psychologist team is made up of Mrs. Leah Wells, Dr. Maggie Shamming, and Mrs. Jennifer Skirtich. Quaker Valley School Psychologists work in conjunction with principals, counselors, the district behavior specialist, and academic specialists to meet the social and emotional needs of both regular education and special education students within the Quaker Valley School District. On a broad level, psychologists teach in MS 2.0 classes. All 7th grade students spend 3 class periods learning about and discussing topics including mental health, resiliency, and coping strategies. At the elementary level, such topics are addressed by classroom or at the individual level as needed. When this is needed, it is done in a developmentally appropriate manner. Psychologists also work in conjunction with counselors to facilitate Move This World in grades K through 6. Psychologists also attend and discuss student needs during SAP and Quest meetings at the middle and high school level. Interventions are implemented to meet student needs and progress is discussed in subsequent meetings. The school psychology team consults with specialists in the field to ensure that best practices are used. This involves consulting with Northern Area school psychologists 3 times per year. Psychologists also reach out to specialists that can assist with specific topics. This may include the assessment of English language learners, social skill programming for students on the autism spectrum, and specialized training such as child-adult relationship enhancement, otherwise known as CARE.
As discussed previously, school psychologists work in conjunction with the elementary, middle school, and high school teams to identify students who require additional support through our multi-tiered system of support process and student assistance programs. Based on the area of need, we may conduct screening assessments to determine educational impact and provide the team with additional data to assist in programming. For students who require a higher level of support, or when screening results indicate the need for further assessment, psychologists conduct multidisciplinary evaluations to determine eligibility for special education services. Both screenings and evaluations may include consultation with independent evaluators, therapists, and other outside service providers. For students experiencing a crisis or who may pose a threat to themselves or others, a wellness assessment is initiated and managed through a program called Navigate 360. The student wellness team meets to review the case and create an action plan to support the student. The team consists of one of our school resource officers, Chief Fanata or Officer Watts, the building principal, building counselor, building nurse, and a district school psychologist. Overall, Quaker Valley school psychologists are fortunate to work with the elementary, middle, and high school teams to meet the needs of our students K 12.
In addition to teaching mental health lessons, school psychologists may provide group or individual therapy to students, the frequency and duration of which are determined through discussions with parents and students. For more intensive concerns, referrals are offered for outside providers. Penny is a therapy dog available to high school students throughout the school week during school hours.
Hello, my name is Kate Thomas, and I'm the behavior specialist at Quaker Valley School District. I was hired in the fall of 2019 and have provided behavior support for the district since this time. Some of the techniques that I utilize are verbal de escalation skills, crisis response to escalated situations, modeling behavior intervention strategies for faculty and staff, developing crisis plans based on student needs, developing behavior support plans, taking a trauma informed care approach to each situation, creating behavior contracts, and applying positive reinforcement when needed or as necessary, but also incorporating consequences for behaviors as well. I also see students on a case by case basis for individual counseling sessions as well as group therapy sessions. These sessions often revolve around behaviors that are being exhibited within the academic setting. These sessions tend to focus on what the student may be experiencing at that time, such as poor anger management skills, impulsive behaviors, anxiety or depression. I also implement conflict resolution or will peer mediate situations as they arise, the teaching of social skills, creating social stories, and also providing daily student check ins on a student need basis. Along with my consistent collaboration with counseling department as well as with school psychologists, my position also allows me to collaborate with special education teachers to discuss therapeutic interventions as well as goals to incorporate into students' individualized educational plans or IEPs. We often will discuss the need for a functional behavior assessment, which also incorporates a positive behavior support plan for those students in need. Along with this, I am able to identify the function of the student's behavior through extensive data collection with the psych department, implementing appropriate interventions based on the outcome of the FBA, goal setting and monitoring the progress of these goals and adjusting as needed throughout the intervention. I am responsible for ensuring the compliance of each PBSP and updating it accordingly with the input from teachers and staff. In 2021, Quaker Valley transitioned into the utilization of a new restraint free intervention system called Ukeru. It is a Japanese word which means to accept or to receive. Simply, what is the person communicating to us through their behavior? Or what is the why of their behavior? As a certified district wide trainer of Ukeru, the goal of this system is to understand that it is possible to manage emergency safety situations without the use of restraint or seclusion. We conduct yearly trainings for staff, which include the use of a trauma informed care approach to help staff understand trauma and its effects on the brain and behavior. We help staff protect themselves and others when someone becomes aggressive with the use of large soft safety pads as shown below in the slide. With the use of these pads, we also help protect those who engage in dangerous or self injurious behaviors. We want to add more skills to staff's toolbox to help keep everyone safe and to create a better understanding of behavior.
On behalf of the Quaker Valley School District Student Services Department, we would like to thank you for viewing our presentation. It's an honor to serve students in the Quaker Valley School District and support their social and emotional well-being, academic success, and career development. If you have any questions about this presentation, please contact our Student Services Director, Mr. Mike Lewis. If you have specific questions about the programming and offerings, you can also view the presenter's introduction slides.